What's the cringiest thing you've ever done in the pursuit of love? I had a crush freshman year of high school. We always talked on MySpace, but hardly in person, even though we spent a lot of time together, and I would walk her to 6th period drama class. One day I felt like I hadn't spent enough time with her, so I went into the classroom. I figured there were so many students, probably 40 to 60 kids, the teacher wouldn't notice. So there I'm sitting in the classroom, not even next to her. It was a poorly thought out plan. After about 30 minutes the teacher calls me out. Something like, "Excuse me, who are you? I noticed you." Since the beginning of class now the entire class is staring at me in anticipation for my response. I quietly mumble I was just interested to see what you guys do in drama class, to which she loudly responds, "I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak up." Seconds feel like an eternity with everyone's eyes on me. One student repeats what I said, but in the most awkward way possible, while everyone is still looking at me. I just run out of the classroom. It's been 11 years and this still haunts me. When I was in high school, the drama teacher hated me, so she didn't cast me in any of the plays. I still went to play rehearsal after school. I thought that if I just went anyway she would eventually accept me. I was wrong. She once asked me what I was doing there and told me to leave. I didn't even have any friends in the play. They were all mean, popular kids that hated me too. But it was my dream to be an actor. It still is. I never gave up. I'm heavily involved in professional theater in our city, and no one even knows who she is. That memory still hurts. Who shames a kid like that? Wow, that's rude. If you have a kid who's interested, why would you push that away? She only liked the kids that had her as a teacher in middle school, and she absolutely hated anyone else. My plan was to pretend to fall, but actually save myself right before to catch her attention and look cool. Well, sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's why I have a scar on my hip. Over 120 upvotes, and not a single fell for you joke. Damn, I'm disappointed. In my native language the idiom is fell onto you not for you, which makes this all the more interesting. Netherlands? Ik ben voor jou gevallen, I fell for you. Kan das ook? As a English speaker, WTF, is that how our language looks to others? Yes. Didn't know it looked like a foreign gelatin flavor. Sort of. Dutch is special because we have very few words on loan, and there is more exposure of other European cultures, so it's pretty incredibly foreign to us. Most people have exposure somewhere to English, but other languages would be that incoherent. I was young. Called crush's phone every 60 seconds for an hour. No answer. Repeat. I figured she'd pick up once she got home, and I wanted to talk to her as soon as possible. Unfortunately, she was on the phone with someone else the entire time, getting the "you have another call" notifications about incoming calls, just wasn't responding to them. After about the 60th time she picked up and screamed, "What?" and I tried to worm out of it like it wasn't me that had just called her over and over and over. She didn't buy it, of course. This one still keeps me up at night 30 years later. Hey, someone stole my phone. I've literally just been given it back the moment before I called you just now, and I can see they've decided to call your number like 80 times for some unknown reason. It's really bizarre, and I'm actually not lying or anything. Maybe next time you remember, try seeing it in a daft humorous light, especially when she screamed, "What?" down the phone at you, and literally laugh any feelings of self-cringe out of the memory. Not worth losing sleep over. 30 years ago means this was a house phone. Hey, some burglar broke into my house and started calling your number over and over. I scared him off, and I'm calling just to say sorry for the spam. Yawn. Gave the girl a copy of Nickelback's Far Away in hopes that expressing passion and desire through Chad Kroger's chocolate bars would be enough to avoid making any awkward confessions myself. Found it a week later at my aunt's house with no explanation. Definitely still causes me a cold sweat from time to time. Can anyone else hear banjos? I was very little. I was at a playground on the swings next to this girl I had a crush on. My dad just gave me an Underdog super duper swing boost for those who aren't familiar, and I got the best idea. I turned to the girl next to me, and in the best voice my prepubescent self could manage, I said, "Watch this." I let go of the chains hoping to be able to balance, but instead I shot off backwards like a rocket and immediately blacked out. Ended up being dragged back home in a wagon and woke up on the couch. This sounds like something Charlie Brown would do. I can't see it any other way now. Oh my god, you're right. I hate myself. When I was 12 I had a crush on a girl in my grade school. During our school's 7th grade dance, I didn't realize that as I was trying to psych myself up to ask her to dance, I was actually following her around, and she was very aware of it. She had to ask another kid to tell me to stop following her around and that I was being creepy. I ended up marrying another girl from my grade school class and we all got together like 20 years later at a bar, and I got to apologize and sort of explain what I was trying to do. What did she say when you told her? She was really nice about it. Something like if she had known, she wouldn't have sent the other kid. It wasn't like she was bitchy about it, and with hindsight on my part, I was the quiet kid following her around a dance. It was creepy. She did the right thing, of course. Still devastating to a little kid with a crush and no social skills, but that wasn't her fault. I completely understand. She had no way of knowing. There's something wholesome about being able to apologize and explain later, though, and then laugh about it. I've majorly creeped out a crush in middle school because I wrote him a love poem. It was intense. He was friendly until the poem. After receiving it, he avoided me like the plague. I'm still a bit embarrassed, but only when I put myself in my 13-year-old shoes. I didn't know what I was doing. Lost a good GF in my early 20s, late 30s now, because I was insecure. She went out with her girls one night and said she would call around 11 to let me know what she was doing. She wasn't sure if she was going to stay a while or leave early and come see me. I was a night owl BTW. I probably called her nearly a dozen times by 2 AM. I don't know why. I just got it in my head that she was being pursued by countless better looking and more successful guys than me. I was never like that with any of my other GFs. She was way out of my league emo. That was also my first impression to her friends. They immediately convinced her I was clingy and just a rebound and to move on to someone better. She dumped me about 2 days later. That one still hurts and makes me cringe on how I acted. Always wonder how that one would have turned out had I not been like that. Just to be fair, she said she would call, but 3 hours later she still hadn't. She was your GF. It's normal to be worried. Maybe you dodged a bullet, who knows. I'm with this dude. If you say 11 and I haven't heard from you by 2 AM, I'm more worried you're dead or something and just want to make sure you're okay. Like I don't care that you're out. Just let me know you're safe. In 8th grade, the most beautiful girl in the school asked me to tie her shoe. I did it without hesitation, and it didn't hit me until years later what a spoiled she acted like lol. Whatever, maybe she can't tie her own shoe. Her real life dex modifier is probably in the f***ing toilet and you dodged having a weak party member. I honestly can't remember, it's the cringiest, but over 20 years later it sticks out in my mind. Just a classic boy does stupid thing for pretty girl moment. I'm sure in about 3 to 4 days something will hit me that is worse than that lol. When I was 11 I tried hitting on a grocery store cashier. Had the opposite thing happen. My little sister has always looked a lot older than she is. We are ringing out at the grocery store and the cashier, who I went to high school with, was laying it on thick trying to flirt with her, and she was not registering what was going on. Finally I cut him off and said, dude, she's 12. And he went bright red and didn't say a word the rest of the transaction. Poor dude. Holy shit, this happened to me in front of my parents. They didn't say anything and I got a free Easter chocolate out of it lol. Poor dude. He probably shouldn't be flirting with customers if they are not into it. He wasn't being harmful or crossing any lines. He was just trying to be cute. I did that once, but the guy reciprocated, so it didn't seem so bad. He was asking about a phone which was sold out, so I took his name and number to let him know when we had more stock, as was standard procedure. I ended up taking his number home with me and considered calling him for a while, but ultimately decided it'd be creepy as hell. I still cringe at the thought that I even considered it. Not really crazy, just weird. A girl I was over the top in love with was leaving to go back to college at like 6 AM. So I woke up extra early just to surprise her at her house with a gift. That gift? A folded wrinkled picture of her and her friend where only half of my body is in it, not even really knowing I was in a picture. I thought I was so romantic at the time, but I'm cringing even typing this. What were you thinking? I cringed when I read this. I think I was like 18 at the time. But still, yeah, I can't even imagine how weird it was for her. I wrote a girl a poem confessing my attraction and asking her out. Now, to be fair, I had my more socially astute sister proofread it first to make sure I wasn't doing something stupid. She transferred out of the 2 classes we had together and told me never to talk to her again. She avoided me for the next 2 years, then I never saw her again. Oof. I'm a tall pale redhead who got a note asking me out with a little poem in high school from a boy who I ended up rejecting. But I only rejected him because I had recently gotten dumped by my first boyfriend and was still not over it. I was nice about it though. Sadly, he had a motorcycle accident shortly afterwards and was gone the rest of the year. I'm sorry your crush was so awful. You killed him.